y'all, I am Mazellegh. Welcome back to my channel. Doing something a little different today because I have my husband with me today who is not ready to show his face. But he is here with us today for the Let's Chat Saturday. So we're going to be reading 2 comments for you all, and we're going to be discussing it for you all to get his perspective and my perspective on it. So let's get into it. Both of the comments that I'm sharing today on the Let's Chat Saturday are from the video I just posted on Tuesday, which was about the black man saying that Africa never helps African Americans. So the first one says, "Women, you are mislabeling the American versus ADOS connection. I hope you are not doing this mislabeling purposely. We black people, whom I believe myself to be an American descendant of slavery, do want to engage with the African diaspora, but on a mutual exchange. Look, we are a wealthless population in these United States, so traveling anywhere without the needed protections that wealth provide is foolish. Also, it was our civil rights struggles which gave African people the opportunity to come to the U.S. Before the 1960s, the immigrant people coming here from Africa was almost non-existent. ADOS opened the door for Africans to enter here. If African governments really want to help ADOS, they can give us their political support and send money to help out us finance our political and economic struggles, help us support U.S. political candidates whom we picked to help fight against our enemies, fund our political strategies, engage with African member countries to apply pressure on the U.S. to make reparations happen, created better communications between us, the African diaspora, and its people. This would be a good start if Africa is serious about helping us." Right, so this was a pretty long comment, but the first thing that I do want to say is that speaking about the African diaspora, the Africans in the African continent are different from Africans in the diaspora. And so I'm not really sure why he's talking about ADOS is engaging with the African diaspora, considering that that's not what the man was talking about in his video. He was specifically talking about people in the African countries. Africans in the diaspora are any black person with any African descent or any African lineage that is dispersed around the world. So they could be in the UK, they're in the US, Haiti, Jamaica, the Caribbean, Canada, any other country where they have some type of African lineage. People from the African continent are not in the diaspora because they still live on the African continent. So I don't really know why he's talking about that they're engaging in the conversation, because that's not what the man was saying. All right, so the next thing he talked about was basically saying that why would African Americans move from the States or move from America where they have an abundance of wealth there and move to Africa where there is none. It's basically how I read that statement about wealthless population.
You might have monetary, or let me just say cash money in your bank account. But one thing people fail to realize is paper money is based on trust system. Today society can decide that we don't want money. We will use rocks to do exchanges. And that paper money will be worthless. True wealth is like owning land. True wealth comes from owning land. And the blacks in the United States do not own hardly any land in the United States. So they are fooling themselves thinking that they're going to have political power, they're going to get things to change without any natural resources that they can lay claim to encourage or to, try to get other nations to see their point of view. One thing I can tell you is, I'm from Ghana. Put Ghana aside. If you take the continent of Africa, abundance of resources. Yes, if the African leaders are able to get together, the United States will go and bend on their knees to African continent. Africa is much, much richer than the United States. That's what people forget. All of this richness, all of these amenities that people say they are enjoying in the United States, ask yourself, where do majority of those things come from before they are able to provide it to you for you to enjoy it?
And I think that the people are still stuck on the Western media and how they're still portraying Africa in a lot of situations as if they don't have all these things, when most of the resources that the countries are using. And I said in my last video, if Africa was not a country of wealth or commodities, no country would want them. The U.S. would not have any any need for them or any other country.
I can tell you, if you go to Africa, the land that's in Africa is owned by the Africans. They may not have nice big houses, which a lot of them do, but those who don't, they still have access to land where they can farm and eat. In the United States today, if they fire you from your job, you don't have any land for you to grow anything.
And it's in the United States, when you get land, it's not yours anyway, because you have to get a loan out to get it. It's not like you can just like straight out buy it.
Exactly. So as you are sitting and proclaiming how wealthy you are not wealthy. Just getting fired from your job alone will make you very, very desperate. But I think you need to do a little bit more research and really look into things before you put things in writing. But let's move on to the next point.
The next one he's talking about that it is the civil rights movement that the reason why immigrants are able to come to the United States. Now, I don't really know what that has to do with the video.
Well, let me piggyback on it. I'm an economist, okay? And one thing people don't realize, nations will do whatever they need to do to take advantage of other nations. The civil rights movement was about black people having civil rights in the United States. It was not fought because they wanted immigrants to come over. The United States opened their doors to many, many nations through immigration because they know they can benefit. Whether the civil right was fought or not, the United States would have opened their doors to immigrants because they need their labor. Okay? They need their labor. So that one would have happened. How soon? I don't know. I cannot predict. The United States would have brought immigrants because they know they can take advantage of their labor. Not only their labor, but also their intelligence. That they can come and contribute to this society. That's why they give people citizenship. When you come to the United States and they see that you can contribute gratefully, making their nation grow, and then becoming prosperous, they'll open the door up for you. And again, reading further down the comment, talking about African countries should be supporting their political agendas. Why would any African country want to support agendas, knowing good and well that a country that you are you are going to be doing this, they don't even look at you as equal.
Well, I wasn't even going to say that. I was going to say the American descendants of slavery, from what I've read, don't want any connection to the African countries at all. They want no connection to the African continent. So since that's the case, and you don't want connection to the African continent, then how can you expect them to come and aid you when you don't even want to acknowledge that they are a part of you? So the American descendants of slavery has made it clear that they don't believe in Pan-Africanism. They do not believe that the history started with the African continent. They do believe that the history of black people in the U.S. started when they stepped their foot. When those enslaved people stepped their foot onto the American soil, that's where they believe that their history started. So since that's the case, then how can you expect them to help you when you have made it clear you don't want to have anything to do with them whatsoever? That's just like if I had a family member that I don't want to have anything to do with them, but I have the nerve to go and ask them for money or ask them for a place to stay. But I don't want to acknowledge them as a family member. So that's what I don't understand, as far as some African Americans don't want any connection to Africa, but they want Africa to help them in whatever capacity they're able to help them. Like, it seemed like that you would be asking the American government to help you, since that's the lineage that you want to tout so much.
Well, it's very unfortunate that some people feel this way, but I look at every black American as an African, because whether they like it or not, they're Africans. Whether they like it or not, life originated from the African continent, not by my research, but the same white people's research. So whether you want to call yourself African descendant of
American
American
descendants
descendant
of
of
slavery or
slavery.
foundational black Americans.
You are from
They're
Africa.
from Africa.
Okay? You are from Africa, so you might as well start making trips and visiting where you originated from. That way you can really have a true self identity. Now, of course, nobody's forcing you to go there, but when you decide to cut off your lineage and be someone that you originally are not, it's a problem. No human being is better than others. We need to appreciate who we are and stop trying to fake it like you're not who you truly are. That will always be a problem for you as an individual. I've lived in the United States for a while now, but I'm a true Ghanaian, born. I will never say that because I've lived in the United States for a long time, I don't know Africa. So let's stop, trying to divide ourselves, giving ourselves labels, just trying to claim, I guess I don't know what people are getting from it with all this labeling. I'm American descent of this. You did not come from here. Where my ancestors are the only one. Talk about repatriation or what. All of these things, they're going to amount to nothing. We need to work hard together. That's the only way we can overcome.
Yep.
Without working hard together, we will be the spot that we are in. We might actually go backwards.
And that is pretty much that whole comment. I think that the one thing that I can say about the comment, at least there were some actual specific things that was stated as far as asking for aid, but the things that was asked for, like helping support political candidates in the U.S. I mean, I think the whole thing of helping the black community as far as aid from the African countries, it needs to go deeper than just a political candidate, because that means that you'd have to have a political candidate in place that's going to be in the best interest of the black community. And most of the time we don't get that. We don't get political candidates that have the black community's best interest at heart. And unless you have somebody in mind that's able to do that, giving money to a political candidate when there is none available, that's a little far-fetched. And then political strategies to engage in African members. The way this person is talking is if those things are, as far as organizations are already in place within the black community to actually house all of these aids. And let's be honest, there's not really any that I know of an organized community. You got these two groups that are fighting against each other, where there needs to be a unified front within the black community if we're trying to get aid from anybody. And right now, there's not really a unified front. There's one against the other. And it's just, to me, just a whole lot of stuff that really needs to be looked at. So the next one, of course, is in agreement. It says, I work at Verizon and they just laid off 25% of the employees. That is huge. Honestly, black people, I feel like something major is coming and we ain't going to have no choice but to go to Africa or to the Caribbean. Peter Schiff is an American stockbroker and financial commentator, said that America has a phony economy and black people, let's be real, they messed us over, and for some reason we can't see that Africa is the reason why you have marvels of the West. Donald Trump, racist as he is, told the African leaders, I don't see why you are poor. My friends go to Africa and come back rich. So basically this man is saying that black people need to open their eyes to the reality of things when it comes to the African continent, and that for some reason, we know the reason. We know the reason why their eyes is closed, and that's because of the misinformation that we've been fed throughout our entire lives when it comes to the African continent. And now when someone's telling you that it's something different, particularly the ones that was telling us that Africa wasn't all that to begin with, they are the main ones over there making that money. They didn't want us to go making the money. They wanted us to see that it was not the place that, that it really is. And now they're taking advantage of opportunities that black people in the U.S. should be taking taking advantage of. And that's because the West has put into black people's head that Africa ain't nothing, and they're the ones getting rich off of it. That's exactly what they're doing.
Well, piggyback on what I said earlier before, all of these multinational corporations, why do you think Peter Schiff was saying this? Because they know the multinational corporations are in all of these African countries on the African continent. And they go there, invest, and bring a lot of money back home. So some of you, the little jobs you have in America, the corporate, offices that you walk to every day, they are able to survive because of the resources that they are getting from Africa, or the wealth that they're getting from Africa, and bringing it back to the West for you all to have that opportunity. Superpowers come, superpowers go. Development come, development go. It's a rotational thing. Now it's China. Industrialization is in China right now. Their time will come and pass. Next will be on the African continent. When it gets there, it ain't going anywhere anymore because that's where the natural resources are. So if you want to get ahead, maybe not for you now, but for your children or your grandchildren, this is the right time to go there to establish or put something down for you and your family. Most Africans that don't have a job or they are not being paid salary, they still are able to live because they have land that they can farm. They can produce their own food. And they can take care of themselves. They will not be hungry. They might not have the cash to travel first class on an airplane or to go out to some restaurants to eat, but they can cook their own food at their house and they will not be starving.
I think it's important that African Americans realize, like my husband said, where the future is going, and there's not really anything that can be done to stop where the future is going. It has been said and predicted that yes, the African continent is going to be that continent, and the people from the West knew that all along. That's the reason why they've always been there. They've never really gone anywhere, and it's only the African Americans that are not taking advantage of these opportunities. And some of the leaders in these African countries are saying you need to take advantage of these opportunities, and unfortunately they're not. And the one thing that he said in this comment that says, black people, let's be real, they messed us over and over. For some reason we can't see that Africa is the reason why you have marvels in the rest. And if African Americans can't see that the African continent is going to be that continent where it is going to be a developed nation, and you need to go ahead and get on it now while it is still developing, is beyond me. I have no idea why people are still not seeing it, but I guess they'll be left behind. That's the movie said. All right, you all, that is all we have to say on these comments. Hopefully you all enjoyed my husband today on the Let's Chat Saturday. Maybe he will be back another time. We will see. All right, I am Mazelleغ. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.